Okay, the Rebbe's Basi LeGani, Tavshin Lametes, in this booklet, we got to page Chav Ches.
The new one. Have a good one.
Okay, Chav Ches, the new paragraph. The Rebbe is explaining the level of the kroshim that we have to make the aimdim, amudim, aimdim, that it connects heaven and earth. And then he says, to understand this better, we need to understand first what the Baal Shem Tov says, Srafim aimdim bimalei. The Srafim are higher than the level of loy, meaning the name of Yud Kevavke Adnai, rather, that's on top of the throne. The Srafim are only in the level of Bria. Nevertheless, because they have this longing to godliness, they're in the level of Atzilus. Unlike the Neshamas that don't have the longing, and the reason why the Neshamas don't have the longing, because they are in Atzilus. So therefore they don't have the longing. Okay? And he says that even though Neshamas are higher than Malachim, but nevertheless, the Neshamas come from the level of Tachas Mekisi HaKovid, the level of Ata Berasa. But nevertheless, the Neshamas originate in Teherihi in the level of Atzilus. Okay, he says, Ba'aved is B'nai Yisrael Gufa. In the Aved of Yidden itself, there's the Shalamayim Yasrafim, which is even higher than the Srafim that's Chav Ches. That says Srafim Emdemimala Yeshne Achile V'Achidish Shemeish Rabbeinu Legabi Ha'avis. Even in the Aveda B'nai Yisrael, there's a difference between Meish Rabbeinu's Aveda and the Aveda of Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. He says Av Sha'avis Hein Hein Merkava, even though the Avis, as the Medrash says, are Merkava, meaning the chariot of Hashem, which Rashi brings down in Chumash, by the way, that they're completely bottled to Hashem, like the chariot goes where the rider leads it. So even though the Avis, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov are complete bittul to Hashem, but nevertheless, the name of Yud Kei Vavke, like Hashem says clearly in this week's Parsha, V'Shmi Hashem lo nedarti lahem, they didn't have the level of Yud Kei Vavke. The Avis, only had the level of whatever, not Havaya. Masha'en Keinei Tel Avis. By the Salvation Rabbeinu had the level of Yud Kei Vavke. The Avis didn't. Like it says in the Pasik. No, I'm sorry, it says clearly. The Avis had Kel Shaddai. But the Shmi Havaya lo nedarti lahem. Right? The Avis had Kel Shaddai, Shmi Havaya lo nedarti lahem. And therefore the pasuk continues, Emer levnei Yisrael ani avaya hameiti eschem mitachas sivlos Mitzrayim. The name of Yud Kei Vavke is going to be taking the Jews, the pasuk says, out of Golus. Haino shayidei hayitziyah meretz Mitzrayim. By going out of boundaries and limitations. Showing in Meitzorim Ugvulim, which is boundaries and limitations. To not only boundaries and limitations of Kedusha, but Linyonim of Mamish. Mamish, the opposite. Mitzrayim was the ultimate level of Klipo. They, through Yetzias Mitzrayim, they come to the Gili of Shem Havaya b'Matan Torah. So what's Moshe Rabbeinu, what's Hashem saying over here? The Avis did not have the revelation of Matan Torah. They didn't have the revelation of Yud Kei Vavke. Davka by being in Mitzrayim and going out of Mitzrayim, which from the ultimate level of Klipa, they merited to the level of Gili of Havaya, which is Tachlis Yetzias Mitzrayim, with the Matan Torah is the ultimate purpose of going out of Egypt. Like the Pasuk says, Beitziach ha'sa'am Mitzrayim, Tavdun ha'solakim Allah Hazem. When I take the nation out of Mitzrayim, you're going to serve Hashem. Meaning, what's the ultimate purpose of Yetzias Mitzrayim? As we learned, Yetzias Mitzrayim and Yetzias Mitzrayim and Kriyas Yamsuf was the preparation of Matan Torah. Yeah, but not only that, to reach the level of Matan Torah, not only serve Hashem, the others also served Hashem. But to serve Hashem on a level that you come to the name of Yud Kei Vavke, which is higher than world. Ki Avedis Avis binyan Amidus. Avis, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, as we know, is Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes. Avram served Hashem out of love. Yitzchak served Hashem out of fear. Yitzchak served Hashem, Yaakov served Hashem out of Tiferes, the level of Achmanis. Shezehu, the office is similar to an Eved. Sheshemeh b'kol Rabbi, listens to his Rabbi, his master, v'eitzet tzivav mi'aver miyira. Okay? It's in other words, the office are like an Eved that serves the master either out of love or fear. But the Yana Shomesh is the level of bittul, ubittul naila yesimi avedis Eved, which is even bigger bittul than even the Eved. And he says, "Li'ez be'efen de mamalke rabbanon," like it says, who are kings? The Chachamim, shemetziyusi nasas metzias hamelech atzmei, that he becomes the entity of the master. Like it says by Moshe Rabbeinu, Chol Basi, Nemanu. He was Eved Nemon, and not Eved Pasha, like the others were. Kivin Sheina metzias la'atzmei klal. He's not at all his own metzias, like Moshe Rabbeinu says in Parashat HaShavua, V'nachnu ma. What are we? We're nothing. Okay, that's in B'Shalach. By the Mano, V'nachnu ma kisolinu olav. So Moshe Rabbeinu is the level of bittul of ma, which is even greater than the level of the others. Therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu, because of his bittul, had the name of Yud Kei Vav Kei. The others didn't have the level of Yud Kei Vav Kei. They had the level of Kel Shadei. But
when comparing an Eved to a Ben, don't we often say that the Ben is higher because he has love for his father?
There's an advantage of Ben, and there's an advantage of Eved. Bittul is more by Eved, right? Closeness of Ava is by a Ben. That's why, what do we say in davening every day? Avinu Malkeinu. Even though seemingly, if you're a Ben, you can't be an Eved, and if you're an Eved, you can't be a Ben, right? Nevertheless, we say Avinu Malkeinu. It's contradictory. If it's Avinu, it can't be Malkeinu, because like we said, a servant, what we call a Ben, he can't be a melech over your own children, because the definition of a melech is a separate entity that's bottled. A Ben is an extension of the father. So that is a greater level than Eved. But there's a mile of Eved and Bittul over Ben. So it's like the Friedrich Rebbe said, that he has an advantage over all the other Chassidim. All the other Chassidim are only Chassidim. And he's a son and a Chassid. It's like similar to the concept of Avinu Malkeinu. So each one's, but Moshe Rabbeinu's advantage over the others was the level of Chochmah. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu was Chochmah. The others are Chesed Gvura Tiferes. So Moshe Rabbeinu had a higher level of bittul than the others. Okay, hey, and Chavtes. Now we can understand the mile of the Mishkan. In fact, the Rebbe asked the question before, this Inyan of Kroshim and Shtus and Shitim is only in the Mishkan, not in the Beis HaMikdash. Even though the Beis HaMikdash is even greater. Right, that's what he asked the question before. Okay? Okay, so the Rebbe is continuing like this.
So the Rebbe is introducing our Rebbe, right? All these things that he's introducing our Rebbe, saying all these things.
You mean he's introducing himself? The Friedrich Rebbe is introducing the Rebbe. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Before, one second, before the Rebbe asked the question, I understand, but he's explaining the Friedrich Rebbe. He never asked the question before, right before Gilma asked the question, that if there's a mile of Shitim and Kroshim, so the Beis HaMikdash had no Kroshim and Shitim. Right? So he starts explaining that Aimdim, you Moshe Rabbeinu do look at what it says up there, and then you see down here, and he says the Srafim. Now he's explaining the mile of the Mishkan over the Beis HaMikdash. That the Mishkan had the Kroshim, even though in levels the Beis HaMikdash is greater than the Mishkan, but there's an advantage of the Mishkan. That's what he says now in Hay. Yesh levaya milas hamishkan shebeinema vasis es hakroshim lamishkan shemeit the kroshim shemlishkan asi shitam eindim shenasei they Moshe dafkem. Okay, it was made through Moshe Rabbeinu. What's interesting, Maisi they Moshe nitzchim. They was going to talk about this. Maisi de Moshe, whatever he made is permanent. So the Mishkan was never destroyed. Wherever it is, it's somewhere. It was not destroyed. When they built the Beis HaMikdash, they undid the Mishkan's still there. But the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. So the mile of Moshe Rabbeinu said, "V'yuv and Zal Peter said Ava Magid." Basically, what the Magid says in the Kutei Maamarim came is the Isa Bezay. It says in the Sayar, Mishkan Iyo B'Leir Rav Avnuni. He says the Mishkan was built dafka through Moshe Rabbeinu without the partnership of anybody else. He says, "Av Shasiyas HaMishkan V'Kelav Hoysay De Yishtatshvus Kama V'Kama." L'cheiro, the donations of the Mishkan were through Moshe Rabbeinu. I mean, through everybody. Everybody participated. By the way, it's the only time in history they were collecting money and they said it's enough.
More than enough.
More than enough. It's the only time in history. He says, even though l'cheira, and not only that, the women made the goat skins. I mean, everybody participated. He says, "Mikama kim hakamas hamishkan aydei Moshe levadi." Putting up the Mishkan was only through Moshe Rabbeinu. The first time the Mishkan went up was through Moshe Rabbeinu. Pirush, the Mishkan Shasa Moshe, like we just said, the Mishkan that Moshe Rabbeinu made, L'Sholta Ba'ayev, the Medrash says it was never, the Gemara says, the Goyim, the enemies never touched it. The Mishkan was never destroyed. Why? Because it's such a great level. Shekayim Lo'ad, the Mishkan was existing forever. V'yizgala b'kar mamash b'biyas Mashiach Tzidkeinu. U'mavoy, like it's explained. Shemei Shasa a Mishkan. Okay, Moshe made the Mishkan. Bistaklusi, by looking at it, like it says, Urevasei, Shehevi Ashurasa Shechina. All of Bistaklusei. The Moshe Rabbeinu built the Mishkan with looking. Re'iyah is a level of Chochmah. Bina is Shmiyah, understanding. Seeing is Chochmah, Moshe Rabbeinu's level. V'inyan b'zadine inyan yivavadasa shel Moshe.
Is he saying that?
1 second. Aveda Moshe is the level of seeing. V'gamaylis habitul shaloi hoysim mitzad inyan riyah dafka from the level of seeing. V'kivin she'inyan shel Moshe. And because the inyan of Moshe was leipsik taima, that there wasn't a separation, that explains it, between Moshe and Moshe, meaning shegam b'yiridasa lamata. That even when he comes down, he brings down the levels of Kedusha down here, is the same muhus, the way it is in Mayla. Meaning like this. Hashem, or Avram, it says psik taima b'gavayu. When it says Avram, vayirmeineni, or Hashem, kel rachum v'chanun, it says there was psik taima, meaning there's it's not literally, but there's a break between Hashem, between Avram. When it says Moshe, it says Leipzig Timer Begavayel. There was no separation. So it's explained that Psik Timer means there's a difference between the higher level of Yud Kei Vav Kei and the lower level of Yud Kei Vav Kei. There's a separation between the higher level of Avram and the lower level. That's why there's a break, like a parsa. By Moshe, there is no curtain, there's no blockage, which means the level of Moshe Rabbeinu up there is the same level of Moshe Rabbeinu bringing it down. So he says, why was the Mishkan, this level of crush and transformation of shtus, of world to shtus and kedusha, and the sheker of world to the level of crushing, in a way that it was never destroyed by the enemies, was because Moshe Rabbeinu is that level. And he, meaning, the actual thing that Moshe Rabbeinu saw in Ruchnius, on the mountain, Basi came down here. And like we quoted the Medrash from before, just like the level you kach, the same level, make down here.
Istakel is more of a...
Istaklus is a deeper level than Riyah even. And therefore, like this, the only one that was able to put up the Mishkan was Moshe Rabbeinu. With the level of his Re'iyah, Bittul, Moshe Rabbeinu was able to create the Mishkan. Schneerson me'atzi shitam eimdim. The Moshe Rabbeinu was able to take the concept of kroshim. There were eimdim amudim, or amudim shemachar mitzagag imeritva. So what did Moshe Rabbeinu do? He brought the level of a lukus up there, down here. What is that? That's the level of the Amud. What does the Amud do? It connects the roof and the floor. So Moshe Rabbeinu brought this level, what he saw in the Mishka, in the mountain, he brought it down here. Okay, so therefore he says, the Pearl, this is the Maila of the Mishkan over the Beis HaMikdash. Yeah, the Beis HaMikdash was greater than the Mishkan, but there's a Maila, like we learned, everything has a Maila and a Chson. There's a Maila of the Mishkan over the Beis HaMikdash. Number one, Moshe Rabbeinu made it. It was never destroyed. Because Moshe Rabbeinu brought Elokus down the way he saw it. Up there, he brought it down here in the physical Mishkan. And therefore was never destroyed.
Wherever the Mishkan is in a
It's in the closet somewhere.
No, in a standing position because he stood it up.
The board standing or horizontal now? I don't know. I never saw the Mishkan.
Rabbi,
But
is it only Moshe Rabbeinu that doesn't have Sikama, or Avraham, Yaakov?
I think only Moshe. I think only Moshe Rabbeinu. Therefore, the proper mashal, which is proper for the concept of mitzvahs, is the inyan amudim. Therefore, what did he say? He said Tarach Amudei Or before he said the 620 mitzvahs, 613 and 7 rabbinic, are Tarach Amudei Or, and he explained before at great length that what's an Amud? An Amud is what connects the Elokus with world. Okay, in simple English, Elokus with world. So, what is that a mashal for? Mitzvahs. What do mitzvahs do? Connects Elokus with world. Now, the others didn't have that level. Because before Matan Torah, before Shmi Havaya Loinei Daiti Lohem, before the revelation of Shem Havaya, world couldn't become holy. There was Exeda. El Yainim is El Yainim, Tachtainim is Tachtainim, world is spiritual, physical is physical. They couldn't meet. So, what the Aved of the Ovis, they did not bring Kedusha, connecting Kedusha with world, that world became holy. Because they couldn't do it. It was before Matan Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu, through the Mishkan, Amudim, Eimdim Amudim, brought Elokus down to the world, that the world became holy. So the best mashal, he says, for the concept of mitzvahs is the level of Amudim. Because what do mitzvahs do? Tzafsa v'chibur. It connects Elokus and world. That's the level of the kroshim.
How did the Avod become a Makava? They became a Makava by being batu.
Not by playing cards the whole day. Their Avedis Hashem, but their Avedis Hashem only reached what's called Nechsidus in Kabbalah, Sheresh and Evroim. It was only able to reach as far as a person could reach. But Matan Torah and mitzvahs we do today connects to the essence, which the others couldn't reach because Shmi Havaya Lo Nedaitelem. You know why? Because they didn't have Golus Mitzrayim, they didn't have Yitzias Mitzrayim, they didn't have Kriyas Yamsuf, and therefore they didn't have these things yet that allowed them to reach the level of Shmi Havaya. And Moshe Rabbeinu had it.
But they could connect to the essence through any mitzvah that they were given.
No, not those mitzvahs didn't connect to the essence. That's what we're saying.
Even bris?
Because there was only bris, because Hashem commanded
That's what I'm
it.
saying. The mitzvahs that they were commanded.
There were what? Only bris.
For real.
Gid Anoshi is a negative mitzvah. Pruvu is not making something holy. The only mitzvah that, and that's why Avraham Avinu waited not to do bris milah until Hashem, because that's kesher of the bond of the bris, and therefore Eliezer had to hold on to his bris. Yaakov Avinu said to Yosef, "Simno yachad tachas erechi," right? Also, because that's the only what made that physical object holy.
Hashem's command.
But that's the Matan Torah. In other words, by bris milah there was the level of Matan Torah, but there was only one mitzvah out of 620.
How can you become a Markava when there is no mitzvah to become
Whatever
a Markava?
Hashem wanted them to do, they kept mitzvahs. Whatever Hashem wanted to do, even the Sheva mitzvahs b'nei Nerach, and the other mitzvahs, all the mitzvahs they kept, even Erev Tavshilin, which is rabbinic, by the way. And that was the bittul they had to Hashem. But as bittul as they were to Hashem, wasn't the level of bittul of Moshe Rabbeinu. Like you said, they're at the level of Eved, Merkava, but not the level of Moshe Rabbeinu, which is a deeper level of Eved.
But
Deep.
didn't Hashem appear to them and told them things?
Wonderful. But the world didn't become holy with it.
But they were commanded by Hashem.
No, they weren't. Only Bris Milah.
Like when Hashem told them go from here to there and then that.
But that's not a mitzvah.
Personal.
It's a one-time thing.
But that's why they became a cover, because they listened to God tell them.
Because they were Merkava, they did it. Chassidus explains there's the bittul of the Rotzen to the Rotzen, and there's the bittul to the Baal HaRotzen. Bittul to the Rotzen means you ask me to do something, yeah, and I hear what you're asking me to do, and I say, okay, I'll do it. I don't want to do it, but I'll do it. So that's the bittul to the will, because I know what the will is, and I'm bittul. I decide, I choose to do it. Bittul Baal HaRotzen is called Nasav and Ishma. Bittul the Baal HaRotzen, it says, you bittul to the guy whatever he asks it to do. So then it's not that I'm listening to the will and then I have a choice to take it or not to take it. But Nasav and Ishma, bittul to the Baal HaRotzen means I'm so bittul to you, whatever you want, I'm going to do.
I mean,
It doesn't matter. It's not the bittul to the Rotzen. It's the bittul to the Baal HaRotzen, meaning the one that's asking me to do it. I'm bittul to him.
Going back to our Indian, they did bring monotheism to the whole world, and the idea.
But the world did not become holy. What happened to all the gate Avraham Avinu made?
They went back, but not necessarily the ones that Yosef made. It was Gvura, he elevated them up.
There was no change in the world whatsoever. The world didn't become holier.
Well, how could it be? They brought monotheism to the world.
Yeah, but that
The
doesn't
world
mean the
knows-
world became holier.
From then on, there was.
The physical world did not become holier.
I understand, but their minds, people's minds, stopped believing in Avodah Zarah since then.
But it wasn't permanent. It wasn't permanent at all. So it wasn't something that they permeated the world. It was a temporary hoo-ha. You know?
Yaakov Avinu marrying Rachel Imenu did not permeate the world. He didn't make the world holy. The act of Yaakov Avinu marrying.
If anything, he married the second sister that he wasn't allowed to marry.
But all the Shvatim, Yosef Atzadik,
No.
they affected the whole world. Misraim, the whole paradox. The whole
But
thing.
the world didn't become holy. It didn't change the world. The world stayed the same world. A Jew does a mitzvah, they take this paper and it becomes holy. They take leather and they make tefillin, or wool tzitzis, the candle, you light a candle, the candle becomes holy. You make a bracha on it.
Well, they made the world holy, but it was temporary. Whereas we make it.
Again, the world didn't become holy. It had no effect on the physical world's existence.
Wasn't Yaakov sticks holy for that second while he was
No,
present, and then
no,
afterwards
no,
he went
no,
home?
no,
So not even temporary.
no. Matan Torah, by the way, was temporary.
That was temporary.
Hit and run.
Yeah, Har Sinai. Yeah. They were not allowed to go up, Bela Sa'or, Vikidashte, right? You weren't allowed to go. Bimshech HaYevel, the second the Shefer stopped, the Pahemi Yalu Bahar. Hashem said they can go up to the mountain. Right? L'chayra, the greatest revelation that ever existed, says Mashiach is, Matan Torah is Me'enze. Me'enze Hoyeb Matan Torah, the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya. The revelation of Mashiach was a little bit by Matan Torah. Matan Torah is the greatest revelation that ever existed. Greater than Kriyas Yamsuf, greater than everything, yeah? The second Hashem left Har Sinai, there was no Kedusha whatsoever in Har Sinai. When the Mishkan traveled, the place of the Mishkan was holy. Right? If you were Tommy, whatever, you couldn't go there, yeah? The second the Mishkan moved, next place, that place was nothing. The Beis HaMikdash, now, there's no Beis HaMikdash, there's no nothing, but the Makam HaMikdash is holy. So each one has its unique thing, so to speak. I mean, Har Sinai was a greater revelation than the Beis HaMikdash. Right. But it didn't permeate the stone. Like we learned in other Maamarim, the Rebbe is discussing here the difference between the Mishkan and the Beis HaMikdash, where the Mishkan was the uniqueness, what was in the Beis Hamikdash, in the Mishkan, remember we learned it in another Maamar, was the normal routine. First the animal skin, and then which is chai, and then the boards which are sameach, and then the ground which is this, right? So according to the Seder Shtalshlus. But the Beis Hamikdash was in daimim. The uniqueness of the Beis Hamikdash was daimim became holy. It wasn't made out of wood or animal skins.
Makom HaMikdash was holy because the Torah says it's holy, or because there was a Beis HaMikdash on it, and now
It's the place Makom Asher Yivchar Hashem.
The Torah says that place, even before the Beis HaMikdash was.
No,
located,
before the Beis Hamikdash was there, it wasn't holy.
It wasn't.
Not until they built the Beis Hamikdash.
So Mishkan could not leave an everlasting holiness in its place.
Correct,
But
and the Beis Hamikdash did.
That's just the way the formula is, or is it because it's
That's what the boss wants. That's what happens.
Is it because it's post Matan Torah?
Yeah,
The
but until they built the Mishkan, it wasn't holy.
Okay.
When they built the Mishkan, I mean, sorry, the Beis Hamikdash. When they built the Beis Hamikdash became holy. Until then, it didn't happen. Okay, Valpiza, Yuvan. Okay, Masha Dogma Chimasim Lavedus. The most corresponding connection Avedus HaMitzvah, the level of Amudim. Ki HaMitzvahs, what do mitzvahs do? 6 times from the end of the page. Mamshich Mechaber Einsof in Elamis is like an Omid Mechaber Agag Varitzba Beifen Schneerson Eifen Mamish Kiven Shal Yodim Nasa Dira V'Tachtenim. Therefore, what did the mitzvahs do? Mitzvahs make a dira v'tachtenim, and that's what the Amudim do.